Hi, Kenice here. Let's see, where is my Zoom? Okay, perfect. Okay, so Kenice here. Let's see. Okay, so today's broadcast is about should you marry for love? So I know a lot of us want to be married, a lot of us don't want to be married, a lot of us are kind of seeing the boss chick epidemic on Instagram, on Facebook, all of these kind of like Black Instagram women that are celebrities and they are the boss chicks. I could name a few, but I won't. I think that any lifestyle you choose, whether you choose to be married or whether you choose to, just create a life of independence, power to you. But I do personally support women getting married and women having partnership. So I want to talk about should you marry for love, but first I want to share my screen and I want to show you guys just some statistics about different cultures. The USA is the only culture where really here well, I won't say we're the only culture, we're the only country, but I will say here we have a very high divorce rate. And we also marry for love and we have choice. So let's see where this choice gets us. Let me share my screen. Just a second ago, I shared my screen and my text messages were showing. So I had to come out of the live and come back in. So let's see, share screen. Oh, it did it again, guys. It did it again. I just hope no one that I know number is showing. If so, I'm so sorry. So let's see here. It says, what percentage of arranged marriages are successful? It says in the US, while the divorce rate hovers around 40 or 50%, the divorce rate for arranged marriages is 4%. You guys, we marry for choice and we still dispose of people. We still leave people. And we marry for love and we still dispose of people. We still leave people. Isn't that quite interesting? So let's see. It says in India, where some estimate that 90% of marriages are arranged, the divorce rate is only 1% freaking. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? I can't. Let's see. Um, so let's read this article. It says why you should treat marriage more like a business, which I don't agree with this or not. We're just reading some different perspective. This article is from Better Today. And let's see. The subtitle says, oopsie, let's see, where did it go? Lessons in making a marriage last from the matchmakers behind Married at First Sight. Oh God, I like Marriage at First Sight, but let's see. I don't know, guys. Let's take a look and see just what they're saying. Let's see the first couple of sentences. For all of its pitfalls, one positive thing reality TV has done for the masses is to open audience up to the very different ways people live their lives. What it's like to be a housewife in the 1%, a follower of a region that, okay, let's see here. Let's get to the meat and the juice. Let's read these bold prints. The divorce rate of arranged marriages is less than 4% versus 40% of marriages in the US, where partners choose who to marry on their own free will. So it says arranged marriages are far from a new concept and they are still practiced in certain parts of the world. India, Pakistan, Japan, and China have the highest percentages of arranged marriages, says Dr. Salonia. For example, in India, it is speculated that as much as 60% of marriages are arranged, And while research on the success rates of arranged couples is thin, one study done in 2012 shows a divorce rate of arranged marriages being less than 4%, as opposed to around 40% of marriages in the US, where partners choose who to marry on their own free will. In fact, in the show's 5 seasons, two couples remain married, one of which is expecting their first baby this year, which by reality show standards is impressive. We're looking at you, Bachelor. That's what they said in parentheses. The majority of us won't end up at the altar facing a complete stranger, but there is something to be said for the way that those tasked with selecting suitable mates for others evaluate compatibility. Are there some guiding principles that we can borrow from them on our own quest to find love? Here's a look at the process behind arranged marriages and what we can learn from the tradition that will help set us up for romantic success. Marrying a stranger. What you do know before the big day, unlike Married at First Sight, where the soon to be husband and wife know nothing about their future spouse, not even their name, there's typically a fair amount of information exchanged during arranged marriages. The method, process, and execution of arranged marriages around the world can vary quite dramatically depending on things like religious beliefs, social customs, societal, as well as individual norms, says Kalina. Elder family members often play a primary or pivotal role in many countries that practice arranged marriage. In some cultures like Japan, arranged marriages are often facilitated by matchmakers that play an important role in things like initiating matches of individuals for marriage and acting as a liaison for communication between individuals and families throughout the process. This doctor says questions regarding how much each person earns, whether they've been divorced before, and even providing bank statements that back up the assets and property each party is claiming isn't abnormal during arranged marriage processes. So they're basically saying that they look at what the person has. Like, so here in America, we would say, I would say when you are dating someone, it is important that they have a house. A man has a house or an apartment. It is important that he has some sort of nest, because 9 times out of 10, if you want to be in your feminine role, you don't have a man move in with you. You move in with a man and he has a nest for you. So with that being said, we can move this up a little bit. I have a lot open, so bear with me, guys, on my computer. Let's see here. So where was I? There are usually opportunities to craft your own questions because it is still an idiosyncratic process tailored to each person, she says. For example, which type of weather you like, your favorite type of music. But it's important to note that arranged marriages are based on the premise that elders know better. So I would say, how can you be your own matchmaker? So basically, what these elders are doing is they're looking at the person's finances. They're looking to see if he can take care of you, along with them probably looking at the woman too, to maybe see if she has any debt. So acting as your own matchmaker would be you dating someone that already has a nest, you dating someone, this is for people of age, you're approaching 30. I'm not speaking to people that are, really like, I didn't start getting this mindset maybe until I was about 26. So I'm really not speaking to people below the age of 26 or 27. I'm more speaking to people that are approaching 30 and they are kicking into gear that they want to be married, but they're not marrying for like the reasons of I love him so much. You want to marry on the basis of being very practical. Is this a person that you can deal with? I'm not saying that all your views have to be the exact same because you will have different views. But is this a person who you can blend your views with? Is this a person who isn't a predator? Is this a person who that you can trust? Um, and I would just say to be your own matchmaker, you really have to date from a logical sense and not an emotional sense. So I can give you an example. If you're dating for a logical sense, here, let's stop sharing for a second, or I'll just keep talking. But if you're dating for a logical sense, you aren't dating because a man is so, so, so handsome. I'm sorry, if you're dating from an emotional sense, you're dating in a way where you're like, oh, he's so handsome. I want to be with him. Oh, he's so hot. He's so fine. He's so sexy. You want to date from a more logical point. Is this a person who you can coexist with? Is this a person who you can see yourself with for a long term? Or is it just you're dating from an emotional sense and it's more based on right now? The more that we're based on like right now, the more that we're marrying for love, we're going to find that there's going to be some days where you don't even really like the person. So, in order to be able to deal with the days when you don't like the person, you need to make sure that it's not like solely based on this thing called love. Yes, you will fall in deep love. Yes, there will be some days where you deeply love him, but some days will be mundane. Some days will be a little bit boring. Some days will be Wednesdays, meaning mundane. You have to spice your life up. You have to add some color. You can't just depend on him to provide all the color. So let's see here. Let's get back to the article. Let's start here. Arranged marriages can take on a more modern, let me see. Okay, so they're talking about this entrepreneur based in New York City who was arranged by her aunt 4 years ago. Can Kara had the opportunity to date the partner she was arranged with before committing. Albeit on an escalated timeline, we were able to meet about 5 times on our own for lunches and dinners and walks through the city in Central Park, she says. And through that time, in phone conversations, we were able to ask each other questions. Some areas like past mistakes and insecurities were difficult to broach, but they are important to cover. Since timelines are more condensed and more people are involved in the process with their hopes pegged on a possible match, it is even more important to be honest with each question and answer. What traditional daters can learn from arranged marriages? I think in the US, we date so modern. We date someone for 2 years, we date someone for 4 years, we date someone for 3 years. And then we're like, oh, like, he's given me a ring. It's been such a long engagement. I've been a fiance for so long, but it's not working. The modern approach in the USA isn't working. So it's time to date differently. Let's see here. So what they're telling us what we can learn. So let's find out what we can learn. When examining what we can glean from the process of arranged marriages, Dr. Bass says it's important to note that whether you are seeking marriage by way of your own personal choice or an arrangement, each comes with its advantages and setbacks. So I'm not saying that arranged marriages are perfect. I've never had one, so I don't really know. but they're doing something right. It's all I'm saying. So, like they said here, they both come with setbacks. It's permanent to remember that you are exchanging one set of complications for another, she explains. She explains if you approached arranged marriage, then you concede to looking at marriage as a business. Financial and pragmatic solution, the love and romance, the inevitable feeling that have inspired countless poets across the ages is missing, at least in the beginning. So can you deal with it not being so poetic in the beginning, or do you need it to be love in the beginning, or can you grow into love with someone? That's my question for you. Can you grow into love with someone? The love and romance. Oh, let's see. I already read that part. Those who have an arranged marriage often tell me that they have a practical old-fashioned marriage that is likened to a to-do list, but the connection is missing. Oh, that's kind of for us, we're like, we want connection, but then as soon as the connection's gone, we throw the whole relationship away. So I don't know. You tell me. The soul the soul connect, however, is what often leads to tumultuous passion and expensive, messy roller coaster relationship and divorces. So, how can we strike a happy medium between practicality and passion? I like this article, guys. Let's read the bold print. The biggest takeaway, whether in an arranged marriage or love situations, is to foster authenticity and engaging the astutely in others. Those seeking the best aspects of arranged marriages on their own would do well to push the transparency and compatibility aspects. So, what are they saying here? They're saying they want you to be transparent and to look at where you can be compatible with someone. There are positives in knowing a partner's net worth and not subsuming their personal debt. Having said that, there are upteen amounts of cases where the situation of arranged marriages in the cultural context forces people to lie about their past and future because they know they are being judged in a harsher light than if you were sitting opposite to each other on a private first date for the purposes of exploration rather than marriage. Without fail, the majority of arranged setup marriages I have seen as clients and also personally have lied about crucial aspects such as health history, sexual history, financial assets. The biggest takeaway, rather in arranged or love situations, is to foster authenticity. Let's see here, guys. Let's see. So they're saying people will lie either way, which we all know this. That is something that we are all familiar with. But what do you choose? Do you choose a love marriage or to have a practical marriage? And I also think that connection can come. I think that connection can grow. I think that passion can grow. But I do think that if you are getting into something that is more so calculated or arranged, you have to create the connection. It's up to you to create a connection. It's up to you to create this fantasy love that here in the USA we often have. It's up to you, and it can be created. There's lots of books on seduction, but I think we are failing at something. I think we are failing at modern dating. And I think we need to consider other things because partnership is important. Let's look up, is marriage important? Let's see what Google says. Okay. Or you know what we should say? We should ask Google something else. Let's ask Google, Benefits marriage. Oops. Let's see here. Says that married men are more likely to receive regular checkups and medical care, maintain healthy diets, exercise, and enjoy higher standards of living. In addition, married men benefit from lower levels of stress and fewer stress related diseases. They also receive better care during times of illness. So, guys, so let's see here. They're saying that married men receive better care during times of illness. So, what does this mean? To me, I look at this to mean that if someone is there for you, that cares for you, they're going to be in that hospital room and they're going to be like, oh, could you put his leg up? Because it's better if his legs are up because that's how he's comfortable, or either, blood flow or whatever reason someone has. It seems that they will be looked after better, right? So this came up for a man. Let's see for a woman. Women who say their marriages are very satisfying have better heart health. And your heart is the most important thing. Healthier lifestyle. So, meaning they probably work out, they probably take care of themselves. Sometimes we do see that this does decline over time, but we do see that this definitely promotes a healthier lifestyle. You want to work out, you're accountable to someone, you want to look good for your man, you want to look good for you, and fewer emotional problems. So, meaning you have someone to talk things out about. You have, stress. If you practice, there's a book I've been reading, it's called The Two-Parent Income Trap. So maybe if you practice living off of one income, you probably have fewer emotional issues and probably you have fewer stresses in life because you're more free. Let's see. Women in high quality marriages do benefit from being married. They are less likely to get heart disease in the future. Heart disease is definitely not popular in my family. There's other things, but let's see. Psychology Today says, is marriage worth it for women? A casual look at how marriage is represented in popular culture may lead one to conclude that ending up at the altar is the ultimate female desire. I don't know if it's the ultimate female desire, but I do believe it should be on your desire list. Wedding magazines are aimed almost exclusively at brides, not grooms. Let's see here. Let's go to here. Marriage, we have been led to believe, is a natural habitat for women, but a stifling cage for men. Thus goes the popular fantasy. However, in the real world of data, things shake out quite a bit differently. First, confounding the view of marriage as a female heaven and heaven is the fact that marriage actually appears to benefit men more than it does women. What? They're saying that marriage benefits men more than it benefits women? Oh my God. I'm learning this right now with you guys. So I'm very surprised to see this in Psychology Today. Research has shown that the marriage benefits, the increases in health, wealth, and happiness that are often associated with status go disproportionately to men. Married men are better off than single men. Married women, on the other hand, are not better off than unmarried women. What? Let's see here. Second, in contrast to the myth that marriage is a woman's ultimate sacred fulfillment, is the reality that roughly 2/3 of divorces are initiated by women. Okay, I do believe that women file for divorce more, but I definitely believe that with every cause, there is an effect. So a man could be at the cause and a woman could just be the effect. So the law of cause and effect, I don't know if you're familiar, but let's not blame it solely on the women. Let's see here. What's it say next? This is true not only for the young and hip, a recent AARP survey. Let's see, men and women ages 40 through 79 who experienced divorce in their 40s, 50s, or 60s found that 66% of women said they initiated the split. Let's see here. Okay, so these data suggests that the tendency for women to initiate breakups is not an inherent feature of male-female relationships. Rather, it is a feature of male-female marriage. This finding appears to provide support for the notion that women experience the institution of marriage as oppressive. Oppressive? Oh my God. I think it's quite liberating. In large part because it emerged from and still carries the imprint of a system of female subjugation. Rosenfeld notes that marriage laws were originally based on the common law assumption that the wife was the husband's property. I think they're both each other's property. I mean, not really. Like you're your own property, but I'm just being like funny. The last, okay, let's see. Common law tradition legally subordinating wives to their husbands, such as allowing, oh gosh, we can't say that on YouTube. People's expectations. See, I think that's where we kind of get it wrong. We get it wrong in having expectations. We should more so have a goal because most of your expectations, you're going to be disappointed. Most of your expectations are not going to be, I mean, it's like if you have an expectation for your boss or you have an expectation for your parents or a cousin or an aunt or an uncle. If you are expecting someone every day to call you at 7:45, I think you should just have a goal. What is your goal to talk to them at 7:45? Is your goal to talk to them and ask them about dinner? Okay, then you don't have to expect them to call you. You can expect to just send them a text. So, with that being said, I would say going into marriage with a goal instead of going into it with expectations, because every time you may be disappointed. Let's go back to Google and let's see what else we feel like talking about today. Let's see. Benefits. Let's read more benefits for women because Psychology Today is not helping my narrative. Let's see. Okay, so we're getting sidetracked because I see a great headline and it says why men resist marriage even though they benefit the most from it. In many romantic relationships, one partner desires a higher level of commitment, engagement, or marriage. Is engagement a high commitment? I think marriage is the commitment. I think that we as Americans need to just get rid of engagement altogether. What is the point? What's the point? Wow, the other is content to let the relationship stay in its current form. Ooh, this is relatable, guys. I'm liking this. This is from IF Studies. So let's see here. I suspect that in about 2/3 of these cases, the partner seeking more commitment is the woman, while the man drags his feet. That's certainly in line with contemporary cultural stereotypes. The fact that men are legendary wary of marriage is stranger than it first appears. This is a good article. Both men and women benefit from marriage, but men seem to benefit more overall. In addition to being happier and healthier than bachelors, married men earn more money and live longer. And men can reap such benefits even from mediocre marriages. While for women, the benefits of marriage are more strongly linked to marital quality. Moreover, according to several surveys dating to around a decade ago. Men are more likely than women to say that it's better to get married than to go through life single. And among the unmarried, men are more likely than women to report that they would prefer to be married. Some recent surveys, however, suggest this difference may have lessened or even flipped, although we still find men a bit more likely than women to endorse the importance of marriage in our lab's national sample of unmarried individuals. Logically, then, men should be the ones pursuing marriage. They seem to view it as desirable, and they are more likely than women to gain major benefits from it. So, why would men hesitate to tie the knot? I believe that men resist marriage more than women, primarily because they believe marriage requires a substantial increase in their behavioral commitment. Oh my God, this is an amazing article. And they don't always feel ready for that transition. Three sources lend support to this theory. Okay. Young men associate marriage with increased responsibilities with a greater possibility of financial loss. Guys, I love when they said this. They believe marriage requires a substantial increase in their behavioral commitment. Their behavioral commitment. Let's look up this. Let's find out what the deeper meaning behind behavioral commitment is. I definitely know what it means to me, but let's just make sure Google is on the same page as my understanding or our understanding. Okay, 9 leaderships. Okay, no, that's not really it. Oh, well, they could be saying that they have to probably demonstrate these things. But we call this behavior commitment to change, and we define it as an extent to which an individual displays a behavior that helps or hinders the successful implementation of a change initiative. Studies found evidence that several factors influence the behavior that people show during change. So that means that they have to commit to a different behavior. Okay, so let's see. First, let's look at, do we want to read all of this? Kind of, but I could kind of skim it through. Whitehead and Pease research, which was published in the 2002 report of National Marriage Project, the two drew on discussions that conducted with 60 never married heterosexual men who came from a variety of religious, ethnic, and family backgrounds and ranged in age from 25 to 33. Okay, 25 to 33 is really young. Men are like still definitely teenagers during these ages, but okay, we'll listen to the study. These men reported that the main reason they resist marriage is that they can enjoy many of its benefits without actually getting married. So what's the point of getting married if they can enjoy all the benefits of not being married to you and still hanging out with you? What's the point? They can put a ring on you, they can delay marriage. Like, what's the point? Let's see here. That is through cohabitation. Oh, so when we're living with someone. So I would say if you are living with someone, put a deadline on it. Don't make it a year, make it 3 months. You weren't homeless when you met them. You won't be homeless after you get done. So, hey. Further, they reported experiencing almost no social pressures to marry. So most men have, the majority have no social pressure to marry. Let's see here. Not from family, not from friends, and not from the families of the women they live with. Wow. We are getting really modern and really, really relaxed. We need to bring tradition back. They associated marriage with a number of increased responsibilities and with a greater possibility of financial loss. I cannot imagine that such beliefs are any less prevalent now. On a lighter note, men said that one benefit of not marrying was that if they were to marry, their girlfriend, now wife, would tell them what to do. So they don't really like being told what to do, I guess. This could be evidence of an inner view that after marriage, but not before, their partners have the right to tell them what to do. This is totally consistent with the way stronger commitment transforms one's sense of a relationship. It's also assuming to me, given the evidence of marriage's health benefits for men, most scholars assume that a major reason for these benefits is wives' direct influence on their husband's behavior. That's your third beer tonight. Why don't you stop that? You need to go to the doctor and get that mole looked at. You've been working late every night, running yourself ragged. It's time to cut back. It seems younger men may ironically perceive as a drawback an aspect of marriage that is associated with good health and longer life. So what I'm seeing here is they think that a wife is going to take a mother's role. And they also think that a wife is no longer going to be their girlfriend. And now they're going to be their wife. And so they're going to stop acting like their girlfriend. Hey, we do see a lot of marriages where people are only acting like a girlfriend. Only acting like a wife and not the girlfriend, So I've been, reading this book lately, and they have been talking about the 4 different aspects that you need to be when you become a wife. So I think one of the aspects is you need to kind of be a little bit of a mistress to your husband. Another aspect is you need to sort of be a bit of a girl, so still lighthearted, still really fun. And then another aspect is you need to be a queen. So with all this being said, sometimes when people marry, they lose all of these aspects. And when they lose all these aspects, they hear their friends who have been divorced, they hear them complain about how they're so happy to be single, how they're so happy to be not married anymore. Because guess what? That woman they married stopped being fun. And when you kind of stop being fun, when you sort of stop doing things for you and you start like ragging on someone, it really creates a little bit of discourse in a relationship. So Professor Kenice, Coach Kenice has spoken tonight, and we have went over some articles. I was a little nervous when reading because I know a lot of people will see this soon because it's almost like we're just hanging out, and we're going over things and we're reading things. And I would say that we have some things to learn from both. There's some things we could learn from arranged marriages. There's some things that they could learn from our modern marriages. But we need to start dating differently. We need to start marrying for different reasons, because obviously the reasons why people are getting married today isn't keeping them together. So how can we have more partnerships where people stay together and they're not leaving someone for shortcomings that they already knew about before they ever met the person? Not before they ever met the person, but when they first started dating the person. So when you first start dating someone and you understand their shortcomings, it is what it is. You have them too. So that is my take on, should you marry for love or should you marry for practical reasons, logical reasons? And this doesn't mean like when you're marrying for practical reasons, you're looking at what job someone has and you're deciding on that. You're looking at someone's credit score. Someone's credit score can go up in a month. Someone's income can change. But who can you stick with this person? Is this a person that you can get along with? Is this a person that you can enjoy? Is this a person who you can combine your life with, have intimacy with? There are lots of things to look at, but marrying solely because you are so in love, what happens when the connection gets lost sometimes? What happens when the person now has different hobbies than the hobbies when you guys first started dating? What happens? Is it over because of that? I noticed in Black culture, we sort of dispose of men very quickly. But if we picked really well at the beginning, there will be no reason to dispose of someone later. So I want you to think, do you marry for love or do you marry for practical reasons? What's your choice? All right, guys, I'm going to skedaddle and I'm going to end the live. And I had a good time.